sketching polynomials. So we're going to look at some rules to help us sketch polynomials. So first, we're going to be sketching polynomials that are going to be factorized. So they're going to look something like this. Now, for each factor, we have to look at its power. And there's certain rules with powers. So when there's no power, obviously means power of 1. And here, this factor has a power of 2, this one a power of 3, and this one a power of 4. And we're going to look at certain rules when we have those powers. So for a power of 1, we're just going to get a linear relationship going through the factor of that power. For a power of 2, so in this case, well, we're going to look specifically at, we solve this for 0 and we get 2. And because its power is 2, we're going to get a parabola touching at 2. For a power of 3, in this example it would be going through -3, we get a cubic function going through that factor. And a power of 4, in this example we'd be looking at 4, we'd get a quartic function, which is kind of like a flat parabola touching at that factor. We have to also look at the finishing direction of the polynomial, whether it finishes going up or it finishes going down. I'm talking about on the right-hand side. Does it finish going up or does it finish going down? How do we know that? Well, we know that by looking at all our factors of x and multiplying them together just to see the sign. So in this case, we've got an x function multiplied by an x function that's squared, a positive x function that's squared. Here, and the initial x was positive because there was no negative sign there. So we're taking a positive x that's squared. The next one is a positive x that's cubed. So we're taking this positive x term, which is cubed, and a positive x, which is to the power of 4. Since they're all positive, when we multiply them all together, we're just going to get a positive power for x. Let's look at another situation. Let's say we had x outside of 2 minus x squared, 3 minus x cubed, and 4 minus x to the 4. Here we've got a positive x function first, multiplied by a negative x that's squared, multiplied by a negative x that's cubed, multiplied by a negative x to the power of 4. This would give us x times, well, minus x squared actually is positive. Now a minus x that's cubed gives us a negative, and a minus x to the power of 4 is positive. And you can see we've got a positive times a positive times a negative times a positive, which is going to be a negative. So when we get a positive, we know the function actually finishes going up, and when we get a negative, the function finishes going in a downwards direction. So let's use all these rules to graph a couple of polynomials. Let's look at y equals x plus 2, x minus 1 squared, and x plus 1, all multiplied by each other. So first let's check the sign to know whether it finishes going up or down. So we've got a positive x first with a power of 1, a positive x squared, and a positive x. So multiplying by a positive x squared multiplied by a positive x, and this is going to give us a positive. So we know the function is going to finish going in the upwards direction. Let's get all these factors. So when you make x plus 2 equal to 0, you'll get x is equal to negative 2. When you make x minus 1 equals 0, you'll get x equals 1. When you make x plus 1 equals 0, you'll get x equals minus 1. So these are our key points when we go to graph our polynomial. So let's go ahead and draw our xy axis. And our key points are negative 1, negative 2, and 1. Now we know the polynomial finishes going in the upwards direction on the right hand side. So we actually go backwards and work our way to the left. Now what's happening at 1? Well, when x equals 1, that was our squared term. So we know we have a touching parabola here. So that's what we're going to draw in. We have a touching parabola. Now, our next key point is minus 1. X is minus 1. And this is a linear function. So the function is going to have to come and cut through as a linear function. So it's going to have to come back down and cut through. Then we get to x is minus 2. So we get a linear function coming through minus 1. Now, when we get to x is minus 2, it's also a linear function. So it's got to turn back around and cut through as a linear function. And that's our sketch of our polynomial.